Ukraine struck as Russian vigilance dipped, turning the train into a blast trap within seconds.
At 6:32 a.m., the Kursk forest glows under a thin morning haze as three Ukrainian FPV drones worth $1,500 skim low toward Russia's $1.7 billion logistics hub. The 810th Brigade still believes this fortress is untouchable, but in minutes, those three tiny machines will turn that confidence into smoke, while two decoy drones climb high, dragging the gaze of the $20 million Pantsir S-1 in the wrong direction. Comment where you're watching from, because the moves you're about to see reveal a major shift inside Russia's defense system. At the edge of the Kursk forest, the first real crack in Russia's defenses reveals itself. Ukrainian intelligence, sifting through days of thermal scans and signal sweeps, identifies a 5-foot radar shadow running perfectly along the rear wall of the logistics hub. An accidental blind spot carved by terrain and ignored by complacent operators. Into that gap drifts an OSA-X recon drone, a bare-bones machine worth $400 to $100, whispering through the tree line as it maps every branch, ditch, and blind angle of the approach route. But the forest answers back. A Russian patrol, hearing the thin electric whine slicing through the still morning air, snaps to alert. They cannot see the drone, hidden in the needles and mist, so they do what undertrained soldiers do best: spray and pray. AK-12 tracers rip sideways through the ferns, bright streaks knifing between the pines, but every round chases nothing but echoes. From a command terminal miles away, the Ukrainian operator sees the pattern instantly. The muzzle flashes reveal the patrol's exact position, too close for comfort, but not enough to abort. With a sharp command, he drops the drone into a low, shallow arc, skimming just 10 feet above the forest floor. Bark chips fly as branches brush the frame, but the machine holds steady. The message is clear. Russia is awake, and the quiet part of this mission is officially over. Ukraine's operators dig deeper into the electromagnetic noise, studying every pulse bouncing through the forest. A faint shift appears. Russia has activated an east-facing acoustic sensor, a crude early warning device meant to catch low-flying threats. It narrows the margin for error to almost nothing. To counter it, a decoy drone climbs just high enough to trigger its trap. With a sharp hiss, it unleashes a ring of 3,600-degree flares, flooding the air with false heat signatures. The effect is immediate. The $30 million Zoopark 1M radar swallows the bait whole, miscalculating direction, distance, and altitude all at once. Its screen paints a phantom swarm racing across the wrong tree line, pulling Russian attention exactly where Ukraine wants it. Then comes the retaliation. An AGS-30 automatic grenade launcher, cheap, rugged, and worth $7,000 to $1,000, begins thumping wildly into the forest. Grenades arc overhead, detonating against trees and showering the underbrush with splinters, but the real drones remain untouched, sliding deeper into the blind zone. Inside the command bunker, Ukraine's thermal feed stabilizes. One by one, heat signatures bloom across the map. Fuel trucks, ammo stacks, bunker doors, generator vents. In under 60 seconds, the entire internal layout of the Russian hub is exposed. The hunt is no longer guesswork, it's a blueprint. If this story makes you think, comment. 1 for Ukraine, 2 for a peaceful future, and 3 if you wish the fighting would stop right now. Ukraine's thermal map sharpens, and the truth hits like a cold blade. Inside the heart of the Russian hub sits a powder keg. 5 to 100 stacked 122mm shells, a packed warehouse of RPGs worth $20 million, and an entire bank of grad launch racks all crammed dangerously close. A single spark away from turning the base into a firestorm. This isn't just storage. It's the logistical heartbeat of the 810th Brigade. But Russia finally stirs. The RL-123 radar on the Pantsir sweeps violently downward, clawing for targets near the ground. The Ukrainian drones are forced to dive to just 6 feet, skimming the moss and roots. Then the forest erupts. One decoy drone is caught mid-turn, shredded instantly by a burst of $3,000 30mm fire. The explosion echoes across the compound. For the first time, Russian operators realize this isn't a drill. A real strike is coming, and it's already inside the wire. The moment the decoy detonates, Russia slams its fist on the electronic battlefield. The Krasuka 4, a jammer worth unknown millions, roars to full power, unleashing a 100-kilowatt pulse that blinds every Ukrainian monitor. The operator's screen turns into a blizzard of white static, no video, no telemetry, no guidance. Under normal circumstances, this is where a drone strike dies. But these aren't normal machines. The instant the signal collapses, the swarm shifts into autonomous mode, navigated by a hybrid brain of Starlink coordinates and internal gyroscopes, immune to radio interference. What was once remote-controlled now becomes instinctive. Then Ukraine triggers its final insurance policy, the mesh network. Each drone becomes a flying sensor node, sharing threats, wind patterns, and terrain data across the group in real time. If one sees danger, all three turn as one fluid, synchronized, impossible to jam. Ahead lies the last mile, the deadliest stretch of the mission. Fog thickens. Jamming intensifies. Russian movement spikes on the thermal feed. And yet the swarm presses forward, silent, steady, and unshakably committed, racing toward the Russian stronghold that still doesn't know its doom is seconds away. Russia unleashes everything at once. An Igla-S missile worth $60,000 streaks into the air, its infrared seeker locking onto the drone's heat signature until a sudden burst of pressurized nitrogen chills the motor to 1 to 100 degrees, wiping the drone off the sensor as if it never existed. The Pantsir gunner panics and flips to manual control. Its twin cannons spit nearly 5 to 1,000 rounds per minute, a roaring metal curtain tearing through the fog, but the shots carve only empty air. Desperation deepens. A mortar crew fires a chaff round worth $10 to $1,000, filling the sky with shimmering aluminum meant to blind the drones, yet it blinds the base instead. Beneath that glittering cloud, the Ukrainian swarm dives to just 3 feet, skimming mud and roots as the world above turns chaotic. Then, the haze parts. In the drone's camera frame, the truth crystallizes. The bunker door, the $20 million RPG warehouse, and the packed grad launch racks all exposed, all within seconds of impact. The first drone punches through the 15mm steel door, igniting all 5 to 100 stacked 122mm shells. The second vaporizes the $20 million RPG depot. The third erases the grad racks in a clean white flash. A shockwave flattens 2 to 100 yards, a 5,000-degree fire pillar visible from 30 miles. Overnight, Russia loses 5 to 1,000 tons of ammunition, an entire month of firepower on the Kharkiv-Sumy line. Smoke from the blast drifts into nearby Kursk villages, sending Russian civilians into the streets as power lines fail. Across the border, Ukrainian rescue teams stand ready, prepared to evacuate children if debris crosses into residential zones. A Russian firefighter quietly sends thanks after a Ukrainian drone's early warning saves him from a collapsing hot roof. And in the gray, ash-filled sky, one question lingers. When a $1,500 drone cripples a billion-dollar system, who truly pays the price?